Hello, hello. I am so happy to see you today. Yes. It's my first time doing that kind of challenge Zoom thing, so I really hope you guys are gonna enjoy. We're a small group, but I mean, it just means I'm more dedicated. So any question you have during the first 4 days, keep them with you. And on Friday, when we see each other, you ask all your question. You can send them before ahead of time to the to my address info@heartsyourlife.com or on the Facebook page. Also, Facebook page is probably the easiest where you can just go type your question. And as we go along, we can help each other. Maybe some of you have the answers. So let's help each other also on that Facebook page. If you did not not reach, sign up for the Facebook page, just go do that. And it's just easy. I just ask for the email address so I don't have robot coming in and stuff like this. Okay, so I'm Josie. If you don't know me, well, let's move back a few years ago when I was a college student. I was a synchronized swimmer. My heart was in it. I was passionate, and I decided to quit to become a registered nurse, which really made me feel a lot of regret at a young age to choose a career versus finishing the path I was on as a swimmer. And I will never know if I would have gone through my goals or not, which is worse than knowing, to be said yes or no, you can go to the Olympic Games is one thing, it's clear, but when you quit something on your own because of fear or because money or whatever the reason is, then when you end up living out of regret for the next few years, you realize, wow, maybe that was my path, or maybe there's something to learn there. And definitely there was something to learn. I went back into this area after being a nurse for 9 years. Then I went and became a circus performer. I will keep it short for this, but if you want the full story on Tiny Buddha, I can put the link when I send the video out. Yeah, so after I became a performer, met my husband, and then my career ended, then it was a definite answer. No, you're not going to perform because you are pregnant. So I had to make decision, and I had to just go with what life presented to me. And I have to say it was very, very difficult because I am Canadian. My husband is American. And not only did I had to grieve my career, but also I was pregnant and away from my support system. And what happened from there is one day my husband just brought back some Canva from the store, but after work, and he was like, "Here, you just do something. Like you need to get yourself just more positive and get yourself out there." And so that's how I started. So pregnant for my first daughter, and since then I love every minute of it. I think I've jumped some steps with like me wanted to be recognized with art, which came very quickly when I was a synchronized swimmer and when I was a performer, and quite slow as an artist, visual artist. Like I have a few pieces behind. Those are acrylic. This one is alcohol ink. Okay, but I wanted just to tell you a little bit of my story and why I'm here today. And I am fueled by what brings joy. And like living out of regret is a thing that I I think looking back, it was a necessary thing in my life for me to move forward with other things and live them fully. So this is that. Okay. Flowers. Why flowers? I love flowers. They are something that blooms, something that are such a beautiful metaphor of life, and they never go out of style. So if you want to bring your career a little further, and you want to license your art and stuff like this, flowers is a good place to start. Abstract and flowers, to just, I mean, flowers is a good one. You can not go wrong when you present flowers, just simply because it's not a seasonal thing. I know in like, yes, they will bloom in spring and things like that in real life, but people are always looking for decor and piece to put in their house that relate to flowers. I'm sure you just look around you, you have a notebook, you have something that has a flower around you. Um, Now looking at my note, so for the next 5 days, the first 3 days, what we do is really just work on technique and go through what basic technique and stuff like this. The 4 days, we're gonna just do a few more things on what we already done. So if you have piece that you're like, this is ugly, I don't know what to do, let's work on those piece with different, like I have an acrylic, that's not acrylic, that's alcohol ink marker, but I have acrylic markers. We're gonna play on our art so you can really like just explore and see. And when you really mess up, like this is a necklace I made. It's very discreet, but I mean, this bookmark, I have actually video on YouTube on how I make them, the bookmark and the necklace. So on my YouTube, you have a lot of information. Now, I told you, when you show up, you get I send that in the emails. Like I have a contest and then you can join. Well, now I will tell you, but the price is a free membership to my new membership. This being said, last night I changed my mind. I do not want to do a membership. I was I am inspired by I think they're great artists. And some of them have already amazing course out there. So I decided to join my forces with them. This being said, my idea came out last night. I decided to not go for the membership on my site, but instead offer you guys resources that have been helpful to my journey. And I want to keep doing my YouTube and offer it for free. So this is my gift for you. So I thank you for being there. But I am not going to do the membership and offer free membership to people who join for today and this week. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. I really want to give back, and I feel like YouTube video are something that I feel really called to do, and it's just something I feel can be helpful to anyone who's starting. And I just put myself in other people's shoe, like in or when I started, and there is so many expenses when you start. It's incredible. I tried to create the simplify supply list in the in my blog, and I under $60 you can have the bare minimum. But I mean, if you're in US, this is like, and it's American product. I think Canada could be about equivalent. I don't know for Europe or Australia. I know some of you are from Australia. Um, but I mean, it adds up quickly. Like when I say basic and a basic supply, like the essential, it's 2, 3 colors. It's really like you go to the pharmacy to get your 91% isopropyl. If you get 99, they are 7, 8, 9, $10 a bottle. It adds up very quickly if you go if you don't know those nuance. Nuance, is that a word in English? Nuance just means like the gray zone. Not everything is black, not everything is white. There's some extremely good paper out there, synthetic paper, that are a fortune, and some others that are a lot of more affordable. And what are the tricks and the do's and don'ts? Okay. Um, yes, so I told you about the contest, YouTube. Um, this being said, I did prepare because I was prepared for my membership for a while, and I do have something that cannot, I don't want to introduce that on YouTube, not as right now. Maybe it will change in the future, but it's all my business step by step, because when you were with that membership that is not going to exist anymore, there was like a 4 weeks. Every week, the first week we do a product review. The second week we work with those products so you can really explore before buying. The third week was Q&A, and the fourth week was an action step, either for your art or to show up with your art. And this being said, I have like a full 12-month document that that is all ready. So if it's something that interests you, just on the Facebook page, just go send me a DM and just send me your email. So I'll add you to that specific list. So every month I can send you like this business insider tip. And so if it's something that interests you, just go do that either on Facebook, my Instagram, my email, and just send me your email so I can add you. Like, yeah, you get that, right? Okay. Any question? Awesome. Uh, let's go switch camera. I want to go through supplies a little bit, and then we jump right into the project. Let's switch the camera. Okay, so here, if I don't know if you have the starter guide, it's on my website. So if you don't have it, go get it. It's very simple, but there's a lot of work in that. I have like all the supplies, and I do have QR code. All those QR code brings you to a video on YouTube. There you go, better. So all those QR code will send you to a video. So you just go in, and when you look at it, like experiment with color, here, there's a video about that. Seal your artwork. How do you seal your artwork? Keep creating, just some inspiration, some question with my personal favorite. So in the starter guide, it is free. It's just a download on my website. You have tons of little project, tons of resource. So now let's just go here. Resources. I want to go through some of them. So the first thing is the ink. You want to start with 3 ink. So when I started, I was in Netherlands. There was a brand, I don't remember the brand, but it ended up doing with time, like I would shake it, I would use it, and it will had like deposit. Is that a word? Little piece of ink that would like be stagnant at the bottom. So even though I would shake it and mix it before using, I would have all those little pigment at the bottom that would not dissolve on my paper. So I would end up with an artwork at the end that was not presentable, not sellable. So that was a bummer. So you want to make sure that whatever ink you end up loving, on the long run, it doesn't end up with um I don't have the word. There's a word for that. Those chunk of pigment on the bottom that won't blend anymore. So, and now I wish I would have kept the bottle. It was in Netherlands. It was the tip was very pointy, if that can help. Okay, so after that, when I moved to US, and the first thing I bought was those piñata. They have a set. I think there's like 12 for about $30. And they have some metallic in it. So you can really play and explore. Their colors are beautiful. And actually, I don't know if you can see. There's nothing stay on the bottom. Like I did not even had to, like I did not shake it before. So this is a good sign that your pigment is very well blend inside the bottle. I want to talk about Ranger. I bought some Ranger at first also. Piñata was really the first one. Then I got this set. It was a set of three, and same thing. They they don't do those chunk in the bottom. And again, I did not mix them before this session. So I'm kind of seeing at the same time as you if if they did if they did chunk or not. So my Kamenskaya, I actually before I bought the Kamenskaya, I have the I bought a brand that was just like Sigwon. It's not. It was a cheap thing on Amazon. You need to be careful when you buy it and it says specifically for art resin. The reason is I do have a video actually on that. I bought that set and it was all um more opaque color. Like when you buy the whites are always like opaque. And it wouldn't dry. It was really specific to resin. You could not just put it on your paper and wait to dry. It never dried. Like after a week, well, it never dried. After a week, I was tired of waiting, so I erased it, which erased very well, so I could use my paper. But I was super sad. I returned it. Or I donated it. I couldn't sell it even because I opened it. So just be aware of that. Like make sure it's written alcohol ink and you can see, can you trying to, let me change the camera so it's closer again. Okay, so if you see, can you see that it's like darker here on this side? This is all, or like when you turn the bottle, I feel you cannot see very well, but you can see there's deposit at the bottom. So make sure you, the cheap one, like this one too, right here. The cheap one are not always the best. Okay, so alcohol ink, we talked about that. Isopropyl alcohol. Now, I am using 99 right now. And before I was using 91. And before that, I was using the blending solution. I have to say the blending solution blends very well, but it is super expensive. So if you want to use it for very specific project, I would. Um, This being said, it is a lot more expensive, so depending on your budget. But blending solution from Ranger is the one I had at first, and it worked beautifully. Then after I was using the blending, I started using 91% because it's just so easy to find it. And in pharmacy, in US, it's very, very easy. Isopropyl 99% is what I went for after that. And once you get used to one or the other, you'll just love it. Like, so if you get used to 91%, and you buy 99, you will see the difference. Once you get used to one, you can clearly see how they dry faster first when it's 99% and stuff like this. Okay, now the paper. I love Nara, but I do not know if they changed their brand or something. But my last batch of paper, for the first time, it kind of curled a little bit under my hair dryer, which my hair dryer is not that hot. So I was very, very surprised to see that. So I'm gonna get back at you on the Nara paper because I always say how much I love Nara. And um okay, sorry, I got distracted. So I always say how much I love the Nara paper, but I was extremely surprised about that. So definitely I will get back to you because that's the first. Like I'm using Nara for 5 years and it never happened to me. So I don't know if they just changed their way of doing. And last thing I want to talk about is before we jump into our project is the varnish. Okay, I've discovered something which is pretty amazing. It's the Kamenskaya varnish. I have it right here. I would before I would paint, and then if I did not varnish it right away, let's say I passed my finger, and then what happened? I just messed up my design. And when I don't like it, I don't really care because I will erase it probably anyway. But when I really like my design, it's such a bummer. You just pass your finger, and it's you have a mark on your design. So this is really a bummer. So I discovered Kamenskaya, that varnish, which you put with your isopropyl alcohol. You do the mix, and that's what you use. It's not a perfect varnish, but if you pass your finger, you see, it does nothing. Thank you. Okay, does that sound better or still? Okay, well, I'll keep going, and if it's really annoying, maybe I'll just try to record the rest another time. So varnish. I'll call varnish. This one is my favorite. This being said, I still varnish afterward with my glossy Krylon. No, not this one. Nikamar varnish right here. You always want to do varnish that is without the UV first, because with UV it contains alcohol in it. So I start with the Camar and then UV resistant. Okay. So if you have any question about that, either you can keep them until Friday so we can go through that again, or you can go in the chat. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Peggy. Something I like to do before I start is I do a color chart. There's a word for that, which I kind of forgot just now, but I just make sure that I have the right color. There's nothing worse than you put your color down and you realize that's not what you wanted. So just keep something close to you with some little uh, not snippet, but some alcohol ink of your colors and write down what they are. So when you're ready to work with them, you have them and you can refer to them. Okay, ready. So get your Nara paper or your synthetic paper. You can always use anything non-porous. So a tile, if you have a frame that you don't know what to do with it, that's a good one. With the, of course, not the frame, but the glass of it. Okay, so I like to wear gloves. Just because sometimes it gets on my finger, it's alcohol, so the only way you can wash it is with isopropyl. It kind of doesn't go well with the normal hand wash. What we're doing is we're gonna start just with one little flowers with the petal. Very, very simple. And then we'll do another one. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it soft edge. So we want the arch edge first, and then we'll make it soft edge. And we'll use two different techniques to start with. So I'm gonna use my Kamenskaya for today, just a bright purple. The first flower, I'll use one color. The second flower, I'll use two. But honestly, be creative. Use what you have on. And something I didn't talk about is my brush. And because brush roll, I always have a tissue. So it's just a good habit because a lot of time my brush will just roll on my paper and makes me very sad. So I have a very thin one, a little bigger one, and I have a silicone brush. So the silicone will push the ink without absorbing it. And the brush, the normal synthetic brush, will just absorb and help you move it better. Okay, so the first thing, I'm gonna apply some isopropyl. Oh, my brush is a little... I always like to rinse my brush, especially if it's not the same color. I'm gonna go get my purple, and I'm just gonna draw a nice little circle, maybe more in the shape of a V, just so because I'm gonna push the petals up. Here. I want it to dry. For this challenge, I'm working only with this because on video, it's with the air dryer, it's very unpleasant and we won't hear each other. So for this challenge, I'm using the pump. Ranger have a pump that is a lot bigger. Personally, I don't know if it's just my hands are small, but I really like this one. It's um, for camera photograph, and it's just a dust blower. It is smaller. So just be aware, I'm not using the one that Ranger suggests for alcohol ink. I've seen people using both, so just know that I don't think there's one better than the other. It just depends on your preference. So now it's dry. I want to make sure it is dry. The reason is if I go put my isopropyl right now, before it dries, what happened is it's gonna mix everywhere. But I want it to go in and catch the color, and I want to be able to push it and keep the pigment, some pigment right here. So I'm gonna do 4 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now it might be more, might be less for you. And I'm gonna use my tiny, tiny brush just to bring it, and I want it to touch. And it's gonna activate my color. So I just let it go, activate, and then I push. As you can see, I didn't push much because I like to give it my shape. So now it's activated. I am pushing, and I can let it be a little bit. It's just gonna create some nice shape. And I'm using my pump also to define my edge before it goes too far. If I don't like my edge, like here I have this tiny bump, so I'll just go in and before it dries. Very important. You want to play with it before it dries. And you can let it dry. You don't need the pump at this point. If you let it dry without the pump, it's gonna dry more flat. If you use the pump, it's gonna create little shape in it, little lines and design. So it really depends on what you want, what type of flower. Awesome. Now we'll do the second one. I'm going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to bring it closer. Let it activate. And you see here, it's starting to go in. I want it to touch, but not too much. So I can start drying this part right away. So it stopped going on my first leaf. So I'm doing this side first. Now I don't really like my edge on top. So as I said earlier, the important thing is really to go with your brush before it dries. So I make sure I dry it fully. The more wet it is, the more it's gonna go back into the wet because they're gonna blend together more. So if I dry it fully, my next petal will be more easy to make and define. If I leave space wet in the middle and I put isopropyl, it's gonna touch right away. You know that there's probably a scientific word to describe that principle. It's not osmosis, but so now same thing. I'm gonna dry it, activate, and I want to make sure it doesn't go too far. So I dry it as I go. There you go. And I still want it to have natural curves, so I don't want to go too much with my brush. Now, if you have question, I'm so focused on the art right now, so you can just unmute your microphone and ask me. Well, I check once in a while if there's anything in the chat, but just let me know. Okay. Now it's definitely missing something. It's very pretty, but missing some dimension. So I'm gonna go back on this side, and I'm just gonna rework that one. I want it. I like when the petals, there's that translucid, like there's when you rework them, they kind of become on top of each other, and it just create that nice like if you have seen like flowers X-ray, kind of bring that effect a little bit. I really like this. Okay, I want one more petal. Um, I'll go on this side. Tomorrow we're gonna work with the metallic, so we'll work with our gold. And I've tried so many gold. I spent so much money on trying metallic paint, and I would always be disappointed because they just sink in, most of them. But I mean, the brass from Piñata, I'm sure you've heard that brand because it's the one that everyone talks about. Um, that's what I have in this little bottle here, but it's magical. It creates so beautiful effects. So tomorrow we'll add this to our flowers, and I have the Kaminskaya also. It works well. I have a video on YouTube about the difference. So depending on the effect you're trying to achieve, the Kaminskaya can be good. I personally, my favorite is definitely the one from voyons, brass piñata. Okay, we'll do another flower, but this time we'll make all the edge a little softer, and I will start it in a different way. So just to give you another view of what we can do. So I will use my purple, and I will use my teal from Piñata. Something I didn't mention is I always open my jar away from my paper. And if I want to go directly, I go very slow because sometimes they splash. If you're at the beginning of the design, it's not a big deal. But if you're if you're almost done and then you have big marks, it's not really fun. So I'm just gonna do a few lines in the shape of my flower. Oh, I was gonna put it in my tea. I do some acrylic too, so I normally use to put my brush in water. Okay, now I'm gonna wipe this off. I'm gonna use my other color. Some teal. I'm gonna come here. And what I want is really them to kind of blend together gently. So you'll see how this end up. It's always a surprise with alcohol ink, but I mean, there's some techniques that it will always look kind of similar. Okay, let's just rinse this a little. Now, is it dry properly? Again, you need to make sure it is fully dry. Feels a little wet on this side. Okay. So I'm gonna do my 4 little drops, and now, like, if you have a bigger one, it might be less than 4. Or if you have a smaller one, I have those eyedropper. That's what I was using at first, but they're a lot bigger. So I really like those fine line just because they are more precise. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm gonna do an extra one. Now I'm gonna wait just a little before I do anything. I really want it to activate. I'm gonna use my tiny brush so it doesn't absorb all my ink, my isopropyl, I mean. And I'm just gonna go touch it a little to give it the shape. And now I go. And don't worry if your petal edge are not perfect. You don't want them perfect. So as you can see, I'm not pushing much right now. Simply, I'm really sorry about that. Okay. Simply because I wanted to just give you another option. If you let it dry a little bit, it mixes differently. I don't know where in your journey you are. This might feel super, super basic. I hope you're learning something. But it will always, like, when you let it dry, just remember it will normally be more flat. Like the color will mix together but stay there. If you start pushing them one another, sometimes it will create another color. So that's good to know, because if I push it too much at some point, it is completely blend. It's still wet right here. That's why I'm kind of waiting. I might go on this side and do the middle one at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do 6. Now I want it to reactivate. I don't play too much with it. Here, I don't want it to go too much, so I will dry this tiny part here so it doesn't go too much on the petal. Now, some people will wash their paper before, some don't. When you wash your paper, the alcohol tend move more, to move more. Like you see here, I had alcohol and it just go more on it. Here, there's nothing. I did not wash my paper before. And that's because I feel it keeps my edge more straight. So now, as you can see, I forgot that we were going to do soft edge. So I go on top with a little bit of ISO and I will go push it inside like this. Those colors are very pretty together. So I just push it inside so it brings all my edge kind of inward and it makes it very pretty. I really like the impact of how it goes right now without using too much the dust blower. So I don't want to do it too much. So it takes a little longer to dry. There you go. So that's the soft edge. So we'll do it again. Oh, I won't forget this time. But here it's still not dry. Okay, so I'm gonna do one in the middle. And again, I do my petal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, just be aware you're in the middle. It's going to go on the side, so you might need to dry it. Otherwise, you end up with a giant petal, which is what is happening right now. Close it, move it up a little. You might have to rework the side petal. And I will go on top, right at the top, let it sink in, and I can create this beautiful leaf that kind of go and just melt into the background. A nice soft edge. And I'm adding some because I want it to melt more together. Don't be scared to go play with the brush. I just like to play with the brush before it dries because I really enjoy when we don't see the brush stroke. I know some people with alcohol ink will do like a real like more realistic painting. I personally really like the fact that alcohol ink flows, and I take full advantage of that. I really like the flowy aspect. So I normally don't try to have my brush stroke shows. Here I'm going to do the last one. Okay. Um, those are the main two things I wanted to show you for today. And I want to show you, I have a Copic marker. It's an alcohol ink one. I do have also some that are like, I bought a pack at some point. I think it was at Ross, and I just tried it. There's just more affordable when you start. I have them for, yeah, for a very long time. It lasts for a long time. But I wanted also one very high quality that everyone recommend. And so I use this for my either my stem, or I use the very, very fine one. Very yeah, fine. So I like to use like a S shape. Now I'm not gonna do that part yet because I will draw a third flower if it's just now the times is running out, so I will do it behind the scene. But I will do one actually. I will use my Copic for one. I like to use the chisel side. I will give it that little pointy here. And then I go with a S. And the same thing, here I already made it kind of pointy, and I will go with a S. Yeah, I did it upside down. I should have go this way. My flower is this way, so even though it's abstract, um, I think sometimes it can be bothering for the eyes if you do things that are weird. So don't hesitate to remove anything. This is what you don't see when it's not live, right? But don't be shy to go clean up and redo. Always use a clean part of your paper because anything on your paper will be reactivated. And let's actually, I'll do the other one with the brush so you can see both. Something I like to do before I go full on my paper is make sure it is there's not too much because this is a brush and it absorbs a lot. So you don't want to go in and then it creates a very, very thick line. So I can do it right here. Can go and see if I like. Or you can just remove some before you really go. And for me, the brush is a lot harder than with the marker. It's just I'm better with the marker. Okay. On day 4, what we do is we create more texture. So if there's like if you the design you did today, you're not sure about it or whatever, keep it because we're gonna play again with it. And if you like it, then keep it as it is. But if you don't throw it out or erase it because we're gonna go and add up to it and play more with it. Um, oh, question. Hi. Okay. I'm sorry. Um, while I'm doing this, total beginner. Okay. How do you use the silicone brush? Okay, we have a little time. I'll show you that right now. I'll use another paper because I kind of like the design of this one. So I'll just get another one. So let's just make one petal. Let's go back here. So I'm gonna wait for it to dry. Oh, Peggy, I'm super happy you're there and that you're telling me where you're at. So it's a lot easier for me to target this for people who are that level. Okay, so I did my circle, I let it dry, and I'm gonna push my ink. Right now, it doesn't really matter because we just want to see what the silicone brush, how it react. So I'm gonna go and activate it. I'm gonna push it, give it my shape, making it really big so you can see the camera. Okay, I have enough. I just want my isopropyl to be everywhere. Now, I don't know if you can see, but I did not clean my brush properly. So you can see all those little chunk that we can find also in bottles sometimes. So that's something you need to be aware of, that if you don't clean it well, you might end up with, I don't think you can see, but um, there's kind of one at the bottom here. Those little chunk of pigment, sometimes they will dissolve, but often they won't. So what the silicone brush does, I will do it, make it very, very apparent for you. So if I go in and I push the ink, so it really creates like it pushes. If I go with my brush, it absorbs it. So there's no like, I don't know if I'm clear. What you can do also, there's that flower that has a lot of lines in it, and you can go with your brush and just create the line. You might need it to be a little more dry, but it will create a nice, I feel like it's not dry enough, so you cannot see very well. If I put ink, not ink, isopropyl on my silicone brush, and it's dry on my paper, and then I go, it will create a straighter line. But what does silicone do? Okay, I feel I'm not doing justice to what I'm trying to say right now, that we don't see it very well. Um, but the main thing about the silicone brush is it pushed the ink instead of absorbing and moving it. So if you use this, sometimes it will push the, let me reactivate it. Let's say with the brush, I just want to move it and have my nice edge. If I do that with my silicone brush, sometimes it will remove my ink. It really pushed it away. So you can play with that and create lines. Actually, now it's working better than earlier. But that's what it does. So depending on the effect you want to create. Um, yes, okay, paper. I'll let you know about the paper. I use Nara paper. If you use the 150 micron, it comes back to about $1 a paper. The cool thing about it is you can erase it. The reds are a little harder. They will stain sometimes the paper, but Yupo, to me, it always stain. Whichever the color, it's a lot harder to clean up. Um, a big trend right now is to use freezer paper. If you have parchment paper, I I don't know. I haven't tried it, but the trend right now is to use freezer paper and practice on it. Um, I personally just use the Nara and I erase and restart and erase. And if you mess up on your Nara, you can do bookmark and necklace. This one is a little necklace from a mess up piece that I didn't know what to do. But you always have little part of it that you like the lines or something that you can reuse. Yeah, sorry. There's no real solution. I've tried cheap option of paper and every time I was extremely disappointed. Like I've tried the photo paper. Maybe it's just the kind I've used, but I mean, at some point I spent so much money on cheap stuff that I figured just better buy the right stuff and at least I can really see result. Um, Something you can practice on is glasses from a frame. If you have glasses, it you can just practice and erase, instead of freezer paper. So I hope it answered your question. Thank you. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow. And tomorrow we're working with some gold. And if you don't have it, don't worry. At least you'll see the technique. You have a good evening. Good day. Bye.